Hi everyone, Mike Mal here. In this video, I'm going to make the case that all education, including university right up to the PhD level, absolutely must be absolutely free for our youth. And stick around, because I'm going to make that case ever so well. Let me ask you a question. What made humanity so great? And no, I don't mean education. I'm not being that simplistic for this video. And for those of you that want to interject right about now and say, hey, we're really not that great, man, let me remind you that we human beings, as Homo sapiens, went from a tribal species, fending for this world's available resources just like any other species on Earth, to governing the entire planet. I mean, we literally took over and now control the entire friggin' planet. We explored all the areas, far and wide, hot and cold, wet and dry. We mapped it, gave all the areas little names and numbers, and claimed the planet for ourselves. So what enabled us to become so great? And sure, the common go-to answer here would be to say it's our higher level of intellect, and technically that's true. But I'm talking about something more specific. What was the precise mechanism that facilitated us to experience the growth that we have? Now, before all you anthropologist types jump up and say, well, there's a number of serious factors, really, I'm sure you'll all agree when I say the answer to that question boils down to one word: language. You see, language gave us the ability to work together to achieve various goals by means of collaboration, cooperation, and synergy. It wasn't our strength or physical prowess that gave us mastery over the other species. Many creatures such as the saber-toothed tiger had much more of that than we ever could. But it was our ability for advanced communications to orchestrate and execute enhanced and robust social and physical plans needed to take over an entire planet. We talked about it, planned it, gave everyone a role, and carried the plan out. Communicate and effectuate. Something no other animal can do, at least not to our level of highly advanced and sophisticated communication. A simple but effective example I like to use to illustrate this is the making of music. You see, we've taught chimpanzees to bang on drums, and they seem to enjoy it. And we've taught elephants to play notes on the piano, and they too seem to enjoy it. But, try as we might, we've never been able to get two chimpanzees to play together. We're never able to get two elephants to play together. Yet, with the power of language, we humans have the ability to elaborate and create beautiful and exquisite sounds. Whether it's just a garage band or a full-blown symphony orchestra, language gave us ingenuity to assemble, delegate various roles, and ultimately create magnificent and harmonious music. Maybe some are more harmonious than others. But there's something else that language gave us, something much more powerful. Something that goes far beyond even the mastery of this world. Something that took us to the moon, will take us even further, and continues to bring science fiction to life. Language gave us exponential growth. For those of you that don't know, exponential growth is a pattern of data that shows sharper and sharper increases over time. Simple as that, really. But what does that mean? It means that we keep improving upon that which is already known. For example, in the primitive days of humanity, people would catch fish with their hands. Then, someone probably dropped a rock on a fish and saw that it stuns them. So he shows the tribe and they start catching fish with rocks. And they're all like, yay, we can catch bigger fish. And they teach it to their kids. The next generation accidentally stumbles upon the idea of making a sharp rock, which helps them catch even bigger fish. They teach that to their kids, and that generation comes up with the idea of putting a stick onto the end of a rock, enabling them to catch even bigger fish. So each new generation doesn't need to start from the beginning, but rather continue from where the last one left. So every generation first learns from the last and then improves upon it over their own life. They pass it along to their young, who improve on it in their lifetime, and so on and so forth. And this continues to this day. As far as we know, only the human animal is able to achieve exponential growth. Now, a simple illustration of the power of exponential growth is like this. If we count 40 steps in a linear manner, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, we would get to, obviously, 40. But if you counted it on an exponential manner, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and so on. At 40 steps, you get to 1 trillion. That's a lot of zeros. So with language, passing along information to the younger generation and repeating this process gifted humanity exponential growth. Well, as exponential growth goes, each new generation had so much more to learn than the previous generation, and so on. Fast forward many generations, and there was so much information to learn that we needed to create entire institutes of learning, which we named schools. In fact, there is so much knowledge to learn that for the first few years of a child's life, they have to learn just the tools required to learn the knowledge in the first place, namely to read, write, and communicate effectively. Knowledge became so overwhelmingly broad that no one human could ever possibly learn everything. So each individual student would specialize in their field of their choosing. This is where humanity made a huge faux pas. An erroneous misstep, a blunder of colossal proportions. Someone in their infinite wisdom, no doubt, decided that it would be a good idea to charge money to the younger generation for learning the information from the older generation. So someone made this change and society simply accepted it. That which gave humans greatness amidst a boundless universe was now being monetized, leaving countless amounts of young people without the ability of gaining the advanced knowledge. Over the numerous generations that followed as a result, an immeasurable amount of youth that could have contributed to the growth of world society were left in the dark, their lives simply passing by without any bestowal towards the human body of achievement. This is truly a tragedy. And to illustrate the intensity of how great a tragedy this really is, allow me to tell you a short success story. Christian Vasquez was born in Caracas, Venezuela, one of the poorest regions in South America. In fact, one of the poorest regions in the whole world. He grew up surrounded by poverty, criminality, and overall hardship. But at the tender age of 9, fate took a spectacular turn. A program called El Sistema was introduced in his community. El Sistema is a charity that brings musical instruments and music lessons to impoverished regions of Venezuela and now even the world. Vasquez took up music and quickly showed exceptional talent. To make a long story short, Christian Vasquez's natural talent was so illustrious that it led him to become a world-renowned conductor, where today he leads prestigious orchestras across the globe. No kidding. A beautiful success story indeed. But let's consider what would have been Christian's life if El Sistema didn't come to his community. He probably would have never discovered his musical talent. Remember, his family was horribly impoverished. They could never afford an expensive musical instrument or the exorbitant costs to learn the instrument. He would have, in all likelihood, been trapped in that cycle of poverty for his entire life, never even knowing his inner potential. When I read about Christian Vasquez, I thought to myself, how many children in this vast world will never even know the natural talent that lay dormant inside them and live their entire lives in poverty? Very tragic indeed. But make no mistake about it, charging our young people money to attend university results in the same kind of tragedy, only much worse. Yes, much worse. Think about it. Of all the countless people over the numerous generations that couldn't attend college because they simply couldn't afford it, how many would have become musical virtuosos because of their inner natural talent? But considering inner natural talent, how many would have become world-renowned doctors with the ability to save more lives? How many would have become groundbreaking scientists and heroes to humanity with their achievements? How many would have become exceedingly great leaders that brought more prosperity and peace to our world? I can pose variants of this question all day long because the tragedy is that enormous. Charging money to our youth for attending college does not only go against that which made humanity great, but it robs the world of progress and advancement. But it would be wrong of me to end this video on a negative note. Why? Because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Humanity always seems to fix its missteps over time. Already today, there are many countries that have corrected this error by removing tuition fees altogether from their universities. Countries like Germany, France, Italy, Sweden, Spain, and not just Europe. There's Brazil, Panama, Egypt, Kenya. I mean, the list goes on. all have free college for their young people. And in some countries, like for example Sweden, university is not only free to their young people, but to all young people in the world. Yes, foreigners can go get a free, high-quality education in Sweden. And you can take your free education all the way up to a PhD. So kids, if you can learn fluent Swedish, you too can get a high-quality education at no cost. It's not the same thing. And many countries are following suit. In Canada, for example, there's a partial solution to this error. And even in the USA, there's plenty of talk for this correction to take place. Eliminating fees for our youth to gain advanced knowledge is perhaps the single greatest investment a country can ever make for its own personal growth, as well as the growth of all humanity. And since most of us live in a democracy, let's all remember this the next time we vote. Thanks for watching, my fellow apes. Until next time, stay loving, stay skeptical. I said it's not the same.